You're 34 years old. You're standing in a hospital hallway. The fluorescent lights hum above you, flickering just enough to make your skin feel cold. Your phone buzzes in your pocket. It's your bank. Your account is empty. How did you get here? Rewind. 10 years earlier. You're sitting at your kitchen table. It's midnight. Bills are spread out in front of you like a losing hand of cards. You have $100 left after rent. You could spend it.
You could forget about it by Friday.
You could pretend for one more week that everything is fine. The clock ticks somewhere behind you, and the silence in the apartment feels heavier than it should. Or you could do something different. You open an app. Your hands are shaking a little. Not from fear, from uncertainty. You type in a number. $100. You hit invest. Nothing happens. No fireworks. No alarm bells. Just a small green confirmation on your screen, glowing quietly in the dark kitchen. You close the app and go to sleep, half expecting to regret it. You don't know it yet, but you just lit a fuse. The next morning, life continues exactly as before. You go to work. You come home. You eat dinner standing over the sink because you're too tired to sit down. Nothing about your world has changed. The same walls, the same silence, the same tired reflection in the microwave glass. But somewhere, quietly, invisibly, your $100 is already working. While you sleep, while you scroll, while you forget it exists. A month passes. You almost forget to do it again. Then you remember. You put in another 100, then another. It becomes a habit the way brushing your teeth is a habit. Mindless, automatic, almost boring. But boring things can be dangerous, because boring things get repeated. And repetition is where the magic hides. 6 months in, you check your account out of curiosity. The number is bigger than what you put in. Not by a lot, but it's bigger. You stare at the screen. Something in your chest tightens.
Wait.
Is this actually working? You don't tell anyone. Not yet. This still feels fragile, like a secret you're not ready to say out loud in case it disappears the moment you do.
A year goes by.
You've put in $1,200. Your account says $1,340. Your friends are buying new phones, new shoes, new distractions that vanish within weeks. You're doing something quieter, something almost invisible, something they can't see and wouldn't understand if you tried to explain it. But invisible things can grow into something enormous. 2 years pass, then 3. The market dips. Red numbers fill your screen. You watch your balance fall, and your stomach drops with it. Every fiber in you wants to pull the money out, to protect what's left, to run. You don't. You keep putting in $100, even when it hurts. Even when it feels stupid, even when the news is screaming that everything is falling apart and everyone around you is panicking. And that decision, the one you almost didn't make, is about to become the most important thing you've ever done.
5 years in.
The market recovers. Then it climbs higher than before. Your $100 a month has become something you barely notice anymore, like a heartbeat. But your account doesn't look like a heartbeat. It looks like a mountain. You check the number, and you have to check it twice. $9,800. From money you never even felt leave your pocket. How is this possible? Here's the part nobody tells you. It was never really about the $100. It was about time. Time working on your money while you weren't watching. Every dollar you invested wasn't just sitting there.
It was multiplying.
quietly, relentlessly, without asking your permission.
10 years in.
You're standing in that same hospital hallway from the beginning. Your phone buzzed because of an emergency, not a warning. Medical bills. Numbers that used to terrify you. The kind of number that once would have sent you into a spiral of dread you could feel in your throat. But this time, you don't feel that familiar wave of panic. Because you open your account, and the number staring back at you isn't empty. It's $23,600. The same decision you made at midnight 10 years ago, with shaking hands and $100 you almost talked yourself out of spending, just saved you.
You pay the bill without blinking, without borrowing, without spiraling into debt like you would have a decade earlier. You feel your shoulders drop, the tension leaving your body like air from a balloon. That version of you, the one at the kitchen table, had no idea they were writing a rescue letter to their future self. But it doesn't stop there. 15 years in. You're 39. Your $100 a month, still automatic, still boring, still invisible, has become something almost unrecognizable. The market has done what it always does over long stretches of time. It climbed. It fell. It climbed again. Every headline screamed a different disaster, and every time, the story ended the same way. And through every single one of those movements, your money kept compounding. Now your account reads $34,900. You didn't get lucky. You didn't time the market. You didn't predict anything. You just refused to stop. 20 years in. You're 44. The number in front of you is staggering. $52,000. From a habit so small you used to forget it was even happening, buried between coffee runs and grocery trips you barely remember. But here's the twist nobody warns you about. The growth doesn't stay slow forever. Compounding has a secret. In the early years, it whispers. In the later years, it roars. 25 years in. You're 49. Your account has crossed $76,000. And the pace is accelerating, not because you're investing more, but because your money is finally old enough to multiply on its own, like a snowball that's rolled so far downhill it no longer needs a push. 30 years in. You're 54. You stop and stare at your screen in disbelief, your coffee going cold in your hand. $118,000. From $100 a month. From a decision that felt insignificant. From an app you almost closed without hitting confirm. You think back to that night at the kitchen table. The bills. The exhaustion. The tiny flicker of hope that made you try anyway, even when every part of you expected nothing to come of it. You had no idea that moment would define the next 3 decades of your life. 35 years in. You're 59. Retirement isn't a distant fantasy anymore. It's a door standing right in front of you, close enough to touch. And when you open your account one final time before making the decision that will change everything, the number nearly stops your heart. $187,000. Built from a habit that cost less than a few coffees a week. A habit most people dismiss as pointless. A habit you almost dismissed too. This is the moment the mystery finally answers itself. It was never about having a lot of money to start. It was about starting at all. The version of you sitting at that kitchen table wasn't rich. Wasn't lucky. Wasn't special. They didn't have a financial advisor whispering secrets in their ear. They didn't have a windfall or inheritance or a lucky break. They were just willing to begin. And that single decision, repeated quietly for decades, rewrote the entire story of your life. It changed which hospital hallways felt like disasters and which ones felt like nothing more than a bump in the road. It changed what retirement looked like. It changed what fear felt like. If you're sitting where that version of you once sat, staring at $100 and wondering if it even matters, this is your answer. It matters more than you could ever imagine. It matters more than the version of you at that kitchen table could possibly have understood in that moment, sitting there with shaking hands and $100 they almost didn't send. The only question left is whether you'll close this video and forget everything you just felt, or whether you'll open that app right now and start writing your own story. Whether you'll be the version of yourself standing in the hallway with fear in your chest, or the version standing there with quiet, unshakable relief. Because somewhere, 10 years from today, a future version of you is already waiting to find out which one you chose. They're standing in a hallway of their own, holding a phone, waiting to see what you decided tonight. If this hit you the way it hit me, hit like and subscribe, and tell me in the comments the exact moment you decided to start investing, or the moment you're deciding right now, because someone reading this needs to hear that it's not too late to start.